Sumter School District boys and girls, and welcome to another evening of Reading with the Superintendent. As promised, we've extended our opportunities to read with you and to you until the end of June. And so the reason why is, one, because we enjoy reading, but even more so, we enjoy reading to you and with you. And I have a lineup of special guests joining us. So tonight, as you can see, I have a wonderful individual who's joining us. Good evening, Principal Jackson. How are you?
Good evening, Dr. Martin-Knox. I'm great. How are you?
I'm just dandy. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to join you. Thank you for inviting me.
Why don't you take the opportunity just to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I am the proud principal of Kingsbury Elementary, and I've just completed my 13th year there as principal, and home of the Shining Knights. So I'm proud of all our Shining Knights and how hard they've been working this year. They've done an excellent job, and I've encouraged them to read every day, at least 20 minutes, and just take every opportunity available to learn and grow, because the learning never stops. It's great. Knowledge is king.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for that advice. And I think that's advice not just for those Knights of Kingsbury, but for all those who are viewing with us this evening. So why don't you tell us about this book we're going to be reading? What's the title and who wrote it?
Okay, so our book is called Thank You, Amu, and it is written and illustrated by Oge Mora. This was one of the first books. She's a relatively new author. This is one of her first books that she wrote. And it was a Caldecott Honors book and a New Talent Award from Coretta Scott King. And the book is really about service to others, because it's fundamental to our way of life at Kingsbury. And it's about giving and gratitude and community, and the importance of us caring for and supporting each other, and coming together and having fellowship in the spirit of harmony.
Wow. Well, I'm excited to read, and I know that we always have fun reading, because reading is fun and it's also enlightening. So I'm excited to read, because I've not read a book by this author and I've not read this book. So I'm ready to learn. So let's make sure our viewers are prepared to learn. So 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me.
1, 2, all eyes on you.
Take it away, Principal Jackson.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Martin-Knox. And so the title, as I said, is Thank You, Amu. And the inspiration for Amu, the idea came from the author's grandmother. And Amu, in the Nigerian language, is queen. It stands for queen. On the corner of First Street and Long Street, on the very top floor, Amu was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned and stirred it and took a small taste. What a delicious stew, Amu said. Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. Oh, have short arms, Mr. Jackson. With that, Amu put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until knock! Someone was at the door. When Amu opened it, she saw, I wonder what she saw. Now, Mr. Jackson, let me ask you a question as we pass this book across the street and up the hill and around the road. Have you had a stew like Amu's making?
Yes, I have. And when I read this book, it reminded me of my mother's red chicken stew, which is phenomenal.
Okay.
And that scent would draw anybody.
Okay. I've never had it, so I guess I'm giving you an assignment to fix me some.
You got it. I'm going to get you some soon. What did she find? A little boy. Little boy, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell, the little boy replied. What is it? Thick red stew. Stew, he sighed. That sure sounds yummy.
So the scent went everywhere. It had enticed him to go knock on that door, huh?
Yes.
Give me a workout tonight, Mr. Jackson, reaching this book. I guess it's getting caught up in the storm outside that's brewing. Amu thought for a moment. She was saving her stew for dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It would not hurt to share. Would you like some? The little boy nodded, and so Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the little boy said, and went on his way. This illustration's really nice in here too, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, and the author was also the illustrator. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Here we go. With that, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. As she read, her thick red stew scrumptious scent wafted out the window, out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until there was a knock. Someone was at the door. When Amu opened the door this time, she saw
It's to be caught in the winds. A police officer. Miss Police Officer, Amu exclaimed. What brings you to my home? I was on duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell, Miss Police Officer replied. What is it? Thick red stew. Ah, stew, she said, and her mouth watered. That sounds mighty tasty. So this smell, Mr. Jackson, must be really potent, as it has captured the attention of a little boy and a police officer.
she's got the whole block just flocking to her house. With this. Here we go. Got it. Amu thought for a moment. There was still enough to share. Would you like some? The police officer nodded. Once again, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the officer said, and went on her way.
I think it's also nice that she's sharing when they come to her house.
Oh, yes, very generous.
Almost dropped this one. And so, for the second time, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. Sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door and down the hall toward the street and around the block until again someone was at Amu's door. This time when she opened it, she saw, I wonder who it could be. Wonder who it could be, Mr. Jackson?
Who is that character?
I have no idea. Let's see.
Got it. Good pass.
Thank you.
The hot dog vendor. This guy knows something about food.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Hot Dog Vendor, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I'm selling my hot dogs down the block when I smell the most delicious smell, Mr. Hot Dog Vendor replied. What is it? Thick red stew. Ooh, stew. The vendor licked his lips. That sounds quite delectable.
Mm. So now the hot dog man. I like hot dogs. And I like hot dogs from the cart. You like hot dogs from the cart, Mr. Jackson?
Absolutely. Nothing like it.
Sauerkraut, mustard,
Sauerkraut.
or chili mustard and onions.
Gotta have chili.
I'm making myself hungry. Talking about the stew and then hot dogs from a hot dog cart. So Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the hot dog vendor said, and went on his way. Wow, that stew is, it's catching everyone's attention.
He's famous. Got it. All right. Throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Amu's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a lawyer, a dancer, a baker, an artist, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker, even the mayor stopped by.
That's quite a number of people.
Yes.
Let's see. Flying in. Yeah. Soon the sky darkened, the street lights brightened, and it was finally time for dinner. But when Amu opened her big fat pot of thick red stew for her nice evening meal, it was empty. Oh no. Oh no. Wow. I wonder what's she going to eat? What's going to happen now?
All gone. That's sad. She worked so hard for this meal.
She did.
Here. Whoa, got it. Amu sniffled. There goes the best dinner I ever had. Sorry and blue, she sat at the table with her empty pot until, once again, we hear, sad. Who could that be? Amu wondered. When she opened her door, she saw.
Oh,
What in the
I
world?
wonder what she saw. She has no more stew, so they can't be smelling something. The little boy? The police officer? The hot dog vendor? The shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker? Why, everyone she fed today was at the door. I'm sorry, everyone, Amu sighed. My thick red stew is all gone. I have nothing left to share. The little boy tugged at Amu's sleeve. Don't worry, Amu. We are not here to ask. We are here to give. Wow.
Awesome.
Wow. That's powerful.
All right, good pass.
Thank you.
Martin-Knox. So, what did they give? What did they bring? The police officer carried in a fresh salad. The mayor entered with a roast chicken. The baker brought a collection of sweet goodies. And I don't know for sure what the baker brought, Dr. Martin-Knox, but I hear homemade butterscotch crimpets in there. Even the little boy presented Amu with something special in a shiny red envelope. Everyone who had knocked on Amu's door that day squeezed inside her tiny apartment, and together they ate, danced, and celebrated. While Amu's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, her heart was full of happiness and love.
Absolutely. Here it comes. Wow, those crimpets, you've made my mouth water, Mr. Jackson. You said that. I haven't had a crimpet in a very, very, very long time. That dinner was the best she ever had. Thank you, Amu. I think this book has to go on my shelf. This is probably one of the most heartfelt books I've read. Mr. Jackson, thank you for selecting this for us to read this evening. What do you want our children to take from this today?
Well, I think that it illustrates very clearly that the kindness that we extend to others multiplies and returns to us. And so that, I think that was one of the biggest takeaways I had from the book, and just that importance of giving and the happiness it can bring, and the fellowship that resulted in it from it.
Yeah, I think you stated that so well. I don't need to add anything to it. The kindness that it was exuded through their actions and behaviors, to know that we've all gone in here and we've taken all of her stew and what's left for her. Although she was being kind while giving, as you indicated, you give and it comes back to you. And so I think this book hits home, and it's a home run for me. So I'm going to find this book and I'm going to make sure it goes on my shelf and continue to share the story about Amu with our children so that they understand. And so, yep. And so is there anything else you want to share with our audience about our reading or about our future here in Sumter School District, Mr. Jackson?
No, I had a great time, enjoyed it very much. Excited, looking forward to the great days that lie ahead. The best is yet to come for us in our district.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you for your leadership and for all that you do for the children at Kingsbury. You and your staff do a great job with our children, and I appreciate every single thing that you do for all of our little mites and all of the children here in the Sumter School District. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in, but thank you, Mr. Jackson, for joining us this evening for another evening of Reading with the Superintendent. Thank you, Mr. Jackson, and thank you to our viewers. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. It's great to be here.